We have some disturbing breaking news that needs to be called out with moral clarity because Donald Trump has just hit a new low as the President of the United States. Only about 12 hours after director Rob Reiner and his wife were declared dead after being stabbed in their own home in Hollywood, Donald Trump decides to take to Truth Social, not to grieve as the President of the United States, not to offer a sentimental message of value, but to dunk on the dead body of Rob Reiner and his wife, to dunk on the legacies of this Hollywood director, Rob Reiner, and his wife. I personally loved Rob Reiner's movies. I have seen A Few Good Men multiple times throughout my life. It's one of Tom Cruise's best movies in my performance, and I will honor him by watching movies, not by dunking on him like the President of the United States is. This is absolutely despicable, and what Donald Trump says is that Rob and his wife have, quote, a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump and his obvious paranoia. He's been dead for 12 hours, if that, and Donald Trump used this as an opportunity to be a despicable douchebag. Before we even dig into this full post, I also want to show you some surrounding context. I mean, first of all, let's just lay the groundwork. Right now, the reports are that Rob Reiner was killed by their son. This is subject to change as the investigation goes on, but most of the credible reports say this exact thing. Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner, were found dead, and their son, Nick, is now being questioned by the police as the main suspect. Rob Reiner and his wife were killed by their son, according to multiple sources close to the situation. This happened Sunday, December 14th at about 3:30 p.m. That is when the call came in. This is obviously despicable and incredibly sad. All reports show that their son had a drug addiction and had been in and out of rehab over a dozen times. Rob and his wife Michelle tried very hard to get their son into rehab. Rob made a movie about his son a few years back being addicted to drugs. So there's obviously more to the story that we'll figure out. But the disgusting thing is, MAGA was patting themselves on the back for the 12 hours following Rob Reiner's death. And I'm sorry to make this immediately political, but online and on Twitter, this is currently a huge political shitstorm, and I need to get in there and provide some clarity about how everything played out, because this story is stunning. Not only the story itself, but the way that this played out on Twitter. So after Rob Reiner was declared dead, after we found out that it was him and his wife who had passed away, Trump supporters on Twitter then spent the next 12 hours doing two things. Half of them were making fun of Rob Reiner for getting killed, and the other half were patting themselves on the back in a masturbatory way, saying, hey, look, we're not making fun of Rob Reiner. Even if it's not true, they were patting themselves on the back. So this person says, remember when Charlie was killed and the left celebrated? Well, Rob Reiner is dead. I'm not celebrating. See how easy that is. A lot of them were patting themselves on the back, acting like they were morally superior to everybody on the left because they were not doing this. Caleb Hammer, who I actually enjoy his show a lot. He's got a good show named Financial Audit. He said the same thing. He said, very different responses to the death of people that some have disagreements with. And he shows that some right-wingers were saying, we're not going to make fun of Rob Reiner. Meanwhile, some nameless, faceless people on the left were making fun of Charlie Kirk's death. There's a few huge problems here. First of all, Rob Reiner was not a political figure. Charlie Kirk was inherently a political commentator that was way more divisive. Secondly, you can find no-name accounts that make fun of anything at any given moment. I mean, if you want to play this game of pulling up a bunch of no-name accounts, I can do the same thing. Right after Rob Reiner was pronounced dead last night, people were saying, there's nothing sweeter than watching karma do its job. Or what about this person said, yes, good riddance, Rob Reiner. Or what about this person? Funny to see people simping for Rob Reiner. Are you insane? I'm not going to pretend it's anything but funny that he's dead. What about this one? This is why I'll sleep soundly tonight, knowing that leftist piece of shit pedophile died painfully at the hands of his child/victim. I don't want the high road, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is obviously despicable, disturbing stuff, but the point here is MAGA Republicans have no moral high ground. The broader point that I want to make here, this is the very, very important one. The broader point that I want to make here is that Caleb Hammer's talking point was immediately blown up by the President of the United States. So when MAGA's sitting there patting themselves on the back in a masturbatory way, hurting their arms by jerking themselves off and saying, we never would make fun of the other side, we'd never dunk on the dead body of a liberal, Donald Trump comes in like the Undertaker and just swoops their entire argument out and says, no, we are going to make fun of Rob Reiner. He says, quote, "A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling, but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He's blaming the death. He's attributing the cause of death to Trump derangement syndrome. He says they passed away reportedly due to the anger. He then says he was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, like the golden age of America. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. There's a few things Trump is showing right here. Number one, an insane amount of cognitive decline when he thinks it's okay to post this as the president of the United States. Number two, an insane level of cruelty. Number three, and this is the political reality of it, he's trying to lay out bait and traps for liberals, the left, and progressives to bite on while he continues to tear us into a fascist descent. This is what he does. People in the comments are going to be mad and emailing me saying that I'm wrong, that he's just incredibly crazy. He is crazy, of course. But what he's also trying to do is lay out political bait by saying the most disturbing thing possible so that we're using political capital calling this out. I mean, as this is happening, as I'm filming this video, I just got a text in this group chat that I use to debate. We've got a wide array of people in this group chat, from liberals, progressives, we have MAGA, we have centrists. One of the MAGA people in this group chat just said, "Why did Trump post this evil tweet?" So even the Trump supporters who were just hoping, they were frothing at the mouth to have any sort of political high ground. They thought they had the moral high ground, and they're saying, oh, look, we're not going to make fun of it. See how easy that is? Caleb Hammer, who I like his show, he said, look, very different responses to people on both sides. And I pointed out in the response, meanwhile, here's a literal president of the United States dunking on his corpse. Right here, Right-Wing Cope says, screenshotting 0 like posts on Blue Sky compared to high-performing tweets is super, super dumb. Someone said, you scumbag. You cut out the part where he garnered engagement by calling him a leftist. I mean, I think the big key point here is that Donald Trump, I'm going to repost my own thing to give it some boost. Donald Trump is quite literally dunking on the course of Rob Reiner, and they're trying to act like they have the moral high ground because random 0 follower accounts on Twitter were saying stuff about Charlie Kirk. Here's the thing. This is going to make a lot of people mad in my audience. I don't think it was cool to make fun of Charlie Kirk's death after it happened. I don't think that hours after Charlie Kirk was shot, posting memes of him getting shot and then like looping the video over and over was conducive to a better political environment. I get it, and I get that I'm privileged, so I'm able to say this, of course. But at the end of the day, in the same way that when Rob Reiner dies, people dunking on his corpse isn't cool, I don't think this was conducive to a political environment. People saying, do Matt Walsh next, do Trump next, do Trump next, do this person next. I don't think it's cool to call for political violence in America. That is not good. But if we're going to have a conversation about political violence, can we have an actual effing grown-up conversation about where the majority of political violence comes from? Because it's from the right. The vast majority of political violence is committed by people on the right, far-right extremists. And if we're going to have this conversation, can we have an actual adult conversation about the source, not who commits it, but the source of this rhetoric? Who is the one? Which political party and which leader is the one using rhetoric in a top-down manner that inflames our political atmosphere? It's not Joe Biden. It's definitely not goddamn Kamala Harris. It's not Governor Gavin Newsom. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, this group of people, they are the ones inflaming this thing. So, yeah, 2 things can be true at once. Don't tweet shit out like this, like especially if you have faces and names linked to your accounts. Especially if you have accounts that are public, don't tweet stuff out like this. But also, understand that Donald Trump is the main purveyor of tweeting stuff out like this. I'm going to leave it there. Drop a like, subscribe. I love you all. Peace out.